Welcome to this edition of The Stack, brought to you by the students of the Broadcasting and Video Production program here at Bates Technical College. I'm your host, Alfredo Lázaro, here to bring you what's happening around the Puget Sound area. On today's show, we're taking you to the Tacoma Buddhist Temple, giving you a showcase of everything sports, diving into the world of volunteering, taking you on an adventure into the world of Slay the Spire 2, looking ahead into the future, and taking a look at our weather forecast. Now, without waiting any longer, let's join Rachel as she gives us a deeper look into the Japanese heritage at the Tacoma Buddhist Temple.
My name is Reverend Tadao Koyama. I'm the current resident minister here, or the resident priest of the Tacoma Buddhist Temple. Here, if I was asked by just a person on the street just walking by, like, oh, what is this building? I'd say this is actually a Buddhist temple, which might be interesting for some folks because if you look at the temple from the outside, you'll kind of notice it doesn't look like what a traditional Japanese temple would look like. And especially owing to the fact that we have stained glass windows, which is, can seem very Christian-like. And I believe that was very intentional, actually, because Japanese immigrated to this country. They were met with xenophobia, racism, even violence. And in order to make these temples cultural safe zones in a lot of places, they actually had to sort of disguise themselves to look like a Christian church from the outside. So a person who just walks by will see something that looks like a regular church. One difference, of course, is that the crest on the temple building that you see towards the top there of the front entrance is the wisteria of the sect of Buddhism that we belong to, which is called Jodo Shinshu. Buddha of the sect of Buddhism that we belong to, which is called Jodo Shinshu, is the Buddha of infinite light and infinite life, Amida Buddha, or Amitayus. And we place our hands together and we say Namo Amida Butsu here at this temple, saying, I take refuge in the Buddha of infinite light and infinite life. So the question is, why do we take refuge in this Buddha? This is because this Buddha created a Pure Land for all of us to go to after we die, where we will experience enlightenment. And the reason why this sect of Buddhism became so popular in Japan, as well as across the globe, is because of the easy practice of just placing our hands together and saying Nembutsu, or Namo Amida Butsu. This building is over 100 years old, and we have members here who have been coming for their entire lives, and their parents and their grandparents were, some of them were even the founders of this temple. And I would say, and I want to get cheesy, but I would say that this is, this building is in itself living history. When you really want to see Japanese history, in Tacoma, you come to this temple and you actually see just how deep and how long the Japanese American influence has been here at the in the city of Tacoma. And so I believe this is actually how we can definitely participate in API Heritage Month, because the fact that we are still operating as a temple to this day is a celebration of that. I certainly hope that the people who come through our doors like what they hear and enjoy the company of people, but also, right, they realize that there are other schools of Buddhism that might fit what they're looking for a little bit better. But I hope to expand their horizons a little bit, just to say, like, remember, Buddhism isn't this monolithic singular thing where we all believe the same thing.
Thank you, Rachel, for showcasing the Tacoma Buddhist Temple for us. Want to know anything and everything sports in the Seattle area? Austin and Eric have you covered as we dive into what's happening in the sports industry, from football and baseball to the exciting and upcoming World Cup.
Thank you for that introduction, Alfredo. Today we'll be talking about anything and everything sports in the Seattle area. I'm your host, Austin Briner. Getting straight into it, the Seahawks training camp is coming up. Upcoming dates for non-season ticket holders are July 25th, 26th, and 27th, August 1st, 2nd, 5th, 10th, and 12th. Be sure to register on the Seahawks website in time for the summer. Now for the first place Seattle Mariners, who are coming off of a 3-game sweep against the A's, where they outscored them 22-4. They will now head home for a 6-game homestand that will start with a 3-game series versus the Arizona Diamondbacks for a specially themed weekend full of giveaways. On Friday, May 29th, join the Mariners to light up the ballpark with 90s themed fireworks. Also, college students can score Mariners tickets for less than $15. Just go to mariners.com/college to purchase. On Saturday, May 30th, fill up the stadium with Julio Rodriguez jerseys for a 90s themed jersey night. The first 15,000 fans will receive a special Julio Rodriguez jersey with their ticket. On May 31st, join us for another game at the ballpark to be one of the first 10,000 fans to receive a special pin with their purchase of a ticket. From June 1st to June 3rd, the Mariners will play the New York Mets. On June 1st, they'll be promoting Pride Month tickets with an included Mariners-themed Pride Month jersey. On June 2nd, join us in celebrating Irish Heritage by purchasing a specially themed ticket with an included Irish Heritage windbreaker. With the World Cup coming up, there's tons of information you might miss. Join us as Eric gives us an in-depth look at what's coming for the FIFA World Cup here in Seattle, Washington.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup is coming to Lumen Field for the very first time, turning Seattle into one of the world's biggest soccer stages. From June 15th, 6 exciting matches will bring fans from around the globe to the Emerald City. The action begins with Belgium taking on Egypt, followed by a highly anticipated clash between the United States and Australia 4 days later. Seattle will also host a round of 32 match on July 1st and a round of 16 showdown on July 6th, raising the stakes even higher. Beyond the pitch, the city's Unity Loop will offer free fun experiences, including celebrations at Seattle Center, Waterfront Park, Pacific Place, and Sodo, bringing together culture, music, and the global spirit of the game. As the countdown continues, excitement is building across Seattle. Hotels, restaurants, and local businesses are preparing for what promises to be a historic summer of world-class soccer.
Can you feel the silence? Well, in 3 weeks' time, that will be no more. The streets of Seattle will become noisy, vibrant, and energetic as the whistle blows to kick off the first match between Belgium and Egypt. Who will carry the day? Well, get your tickets and find out. This is Eric reporting for The Stack.
Thank you, Austin and Eric, for that awesome overview on everything sports. Are you curious about what's happening in your community? Stay tuned as Sydney gives us an inside look into the world of volunteering in Tacoma.
Sydney gets its name from the people who inhabit it. Volunteering and servicing Tacoma keeps the city going. And this year's Juneteenth celebration is looking for people to continue in building its legacy. Founded by J.D. Davis of Way Out Kids, Tacoma's Juneteenth celebration is the largest Juneteenth event in Washington State. The celebration brings together thousands of attendees for a day focused on freedom, culture, community, and economic empowerment. The event emphasizes supporting local businesses, promoting financial literacy and workforce opportunities, celebrating Black culture and history, and creating meaningful community impact throughout the Pacific Northwest. The celebration features national recording artists, live performances, local talent, a large vendor marketplace, food vendors, family activities, youth empowerment and engagement, community resources, networking opportunities, and financial initiatives designed to strengthen pathways to economic empowerment. In its fourth year, Juneteenth Celebration, A Road to Economic Freedom, will host several new activations, including a prayer breakfast and a car and bike show, in addition to the concert and marketplace. Over the years, the celebration has amassed some 20,000 attendees across Pierce County and beyond. As the event continues to grow, volunteers are paramount to keeping the show going. Juneteenth Celebration, A Road to Economic Freedom, has several volunteer opportunities for the celebration. These opportunities include parking attendants, kid zone supervisors, stagehands, information booth operators, groundspersons, and more. This year's Juneteenth celebration takes place on Friday, June 19th, at the historic LeMay Car Museum and Hobb Family Field from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Be a part of the energy, the culture, and the impact of the largest Juneteenth celebration in the Pacific Northwest. Join the movement and make lasting community connections by signing up to volunteer today at juneteenthwa.com. For more volunteer opportunities across Tacoma and Pierce County, continue watching The Stack. This was Sydney Stevens.
That was very insightful. Thank you, Sydney, for giving us that inside look into volunteering. Now, don't go anywhere just yet. We'll be right back with more segments on this edition of The Stack right after this break. Hello and welcome back to this edition of The Stack, brought to you by the students of the Broadcasting and Video Production program here at Bates Technical College. Now let's get into our next segment. Looking into any new video games to play? Well, then look no further than Slay the Spire 2. Join Barrett as he gives us a deep dive into the world of this exciting deck building game.
Hi, and welcome back to Super Media 64. I'm your host, Barrett Stowe, and I have an interesting game I'd like to share with you. It's a sequel to one of the best roguelikes ever made. It's called Slay the Spire 2. Slay the Spire 2 is a deck building game where you and up to 3 friends ascend a spire that is the root of all evil in this world. It is also a roguelike, which is a genre that is defined by 2 distinct rules. 1, a lot of randomization in the map design, and 2, if you ever die, you have to start all the way over from the beginning of the game. Slay the Spire 2 has 5 characters that you can choose from. Your selections are a demon-cursed warrior, uses their own pain to help them fight, called the Ironclad, a hunter called the Silent, who uses poison and discarding to outplay her opponents, an alien prince who can create a big sword and throw his minions at enemies, named the Regent, a necromancer who uses curses and a giant hand to fight, named the Necrobinder, and finally, a malfunctioning robot who summons strange orbs to fight, called the Defect. Each one of these characters has their own pool of cards that you receive after a fight, allowing for each character to be incredibly unique in how they fight. Each deck starts with 4 to 5 strikes, which is a basic card that deals damage, and 4 to 5 defends, which is a basic card that blocks incoming damage until the end of the turn. As well as 1 to 2 cards that are unique to each character. As you climb the spire, at the end of each of the 3 maps, you will fight a boss which can range anywhere from a goop monster or a giant cyborg crab. The gameplay loop is incredibly satisfying, as after each fight you can grab a new card and add it to your deck, which can help you shape your build synergistically. You can also visit shops to remove cards from your deck, or buy a whole host of other goodies like potions or relics. You will also find at least one treasure chest which has a relic for each player inside. These relics provide passive benefits like maybe raising your max HP or drawing you cards when you fulfill certain conditions. The game is packed full of tons of variety, so with no 2 runs ever being the same. At a price tag of only $25 on Steam, I highly recommend giving this game a try. That's about all the time I have. Thank you for joining me for another Super Media 64 report.
Thank you, Barrett, for that exciting overview of the Slay the Spire 2. Want to look into the future? Wyatt is here to share anything and everything concerning our future here in Washington.
Good morning, and thanks for staying with us. If you're looking at the calendar and trying to plan out your weekends for the upcoming month, you are in luck. The local summer event schedule is officially filling up fast, and the South Sound is bringing a massive variety of activities right to our backyard. Whether you are a fan of unique nighttime markets, hidden treasures, local farming, or major community celebrations, Pierce County has a stellar lineup heading your way. Let's dive into a sneak peek of what you can look forward to as we kick off June. First up, a massive community favorite is making its highly anticipated summer return. The Lakewood Farmers Market officially launches its sunny season on Tuesday, June 2nd. Moving back to its spacious weekly home at Fort Steilacoom Park, you can catch this market every single Tuesday afternoon from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is the perfect weekday destination to grab fresh, locally grown produce, browse handcrafted artisan goods, and enjoy dinner from a massive selection of local food trucks. They'll also have lawn games and live music to keep the whole family entertained. Plus, a fantastic bonus, the market gladly accepts SNAP and EBT benefits, making fresh food accessible to everyone in our community. Now, if you want to kick things off just a bit earlier, we have a quick calendar reminder for next weekend. The multi-award winning Haunted Farmers Market is making its return on Sunday, May 31st. This definitely isn't your ordinary neighborhood market. Located at South 54th and South Tacoma Way in Tacoma, this eerie marketplace blends the charm of a traditional farmers market with a love for the supernatural. You can step into a world where over 150 vendors showcase the strange and unusual, offering everything from crystals and tarot readings to ghostly artwork, horror collectibles, and macabre fashion. It runs from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and admission is totally free. Moving into the first full weekend of the month, get ready to unearth some serious hidden treasures out in Bonnie Lake. The annual Puyallup Valley Gem and Mineral Show kicks off a 3-day run starting Friday, June 5th through Sunday, June 7th. Hosted at Swiss Park, this free admission event features a vast selection of rough and finished treasures from both indoors and outdoor vendors. You can browse through stunning crystals, rare minerals, fossils, beads, and handmade jewelry. Inside the building, you can watch expert live lapidary demonstrations to see how gems are cut, visit a dedicated kids mine on the main stage, or place bids at the club's silent auction. Parking is completely free, making it a great budget-friendly outing. Fast forwarding later in June, get ready for a vibrant, family-friendly celebration right on the Tacoma waterfront. The Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium is hosting its annual Pride celebration on Saturday, June 20th and Sunday, June 21st. Running from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. all weekend long, this event is all about celebrating diversity, community pride, and our local LGBTQ+ community in a fun, welcoming environment. You can explore the standard exhibits, catch special themed animal enrichment presentations, and connect with local community groups at the booths throughout the park. The entire celebration is completely free to attend with your standard zoo admission or annual membership. From fresh summer farm stands and vintage treasure hunting to community pride celebrations, June is shaping up to be an incredible action-packed month here in the South Sound. No matter which events you choose to check out, it is a perfect opportunity to get outside, explore the region, and support our fantastic local vendors. Thank you so much for watching. Have a safe and wonderful week, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Wyatt, for that look into the future. Are you in need of the current weather forecast? Learn everything from this week's temperatures to coverage on rain and wind in the Tacoma area as Gabe gives us an overview of this week's forecast.
Hello and welcome to the weather segment. I'm your weatherman Gabe Grant, and let's get right into the forecast. As you can see, today is partly sunny, partly cloudy, with a low of 53 degrees and a high of 78 degrees with 0% precipitation. And for tomorrow, it's cloudier with a low of 48 degrees and a high of 61 degrees, again with 0% precipitation. And then for the next day, over on Saturday, it's cloudy again with a low of 46 degrees and a high of 62 degrees, again with 0% precipitation. And then we're moving on to Sunday. It's sunnier with a low of 48 degrees and a high of 66 degrees, also with 0% precipitation. And then Monday, very sunny again with a low of 50 degrees and a high of 73 degrees with 0% precipitation. And now we're on Tuesday, cloudy again with a low of 56 degrees and a high of 79 degrees. This is the hottest day of the week of the forecast with 0% precipitation. And then on the last day of the forecast, on Wednesday, partly sunny, partly cloudy with a low of 43 degrees and a high of 70 degrees, also with 0% precipitation. This is the forecast. Oh, map of wind. Okay, so coming back to Thursday, we have very windy today with the speed of 6 miles per hour, very windy. And then tomorrow it's going to be slightly less windy with a speed of 4 miles per hour on Friday. And then the next day on Saturday, a big drop down to 2 miles per hour on Saturday. It's not going to be very windy on Saturday. And then on Sunday, the same speed, 2 miles per hour. And then on Monday, we pick it up a little bit with 3 miles per hour and then go back down on Tuesday with 2 miles per hour and then go back up on Wednesday with 4 miles per hour. And that's the map of wind. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you for joining me on this week's forecast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Gabe, for that weather forecast. That's all the time we have here today for this edition of The Stack, brought to you by the students of the Broadcasting and Video Production program here at Bates Technical College. If you'd like more information about Bates Technical College, and especially this program, please visit www.batestech.edu/broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us on The Stack. I've been your host, Alfredo Lázaro, and we'll see you next time.